On this episode of Curve Ahead, I am joined by Elizabeth Gore, the co-founder of Hello Alice, a mission-driven fintech helping small business owners access the capital, tools, and community they need to grow. Elizabeth shares how her humanitarian work with the UN and Peace Corps inspired her to launch Hello Alice, now a hub for grant funding, equitable lending, and data-driven finance fitness for entrepreneurs. In this episode, we dive into how Hello Alice uses business health scores to prepare founders for funding, and why getting your books in order is more important than ever. We also cover why access to AI and affordable tech is revolutionizing entrepreneurship for time-starved small business owners. If you're building a purpose-led business or thinking about how to fund your next big idea, this episode offers practical advice and powerful insights from someone who walks the walk. Elizabeth, do you mind introducing yourself?
Howdy, it's so good to be with y'all. I'm Elizabeth Gore. I am the co-founder of Hello Alice. We are a proud fintech that serves 1.5 million small business owners.
Can you tell me what inspired you to start Hello Alice?
Absolutely. My second career was as a humanitarian, and I was with the Peace Corps and the United Nations, and really got obsessed with how important small businesses were in developing countries and the ability to make an income and pay for your healthcare, education. And then when I got home and really started looking around the United States, I was surprised that there weren't more resources to help folks start their own business. And so I was very passionate about what could we build, particularly using data and machine learning to ensure equitable access to capital. And I met my unbelievable co-founder, Carolyn Rods, and she's just amazing at building anything. And she's a 3-time entrepreneur. And we put our heads together and just thought that this could be, actually, I came at it as a problem that folks can get access to capital. She saw it as a big opportunity to provide that. So we put our heads together and built what is now Hello Alice.
I still don't think that there's enough resources out there to support small businesses or entrepreneurs just from a knowledge perspective. It doesn't necessarily have to be capital, but understanding the process of creating an LLC that will protect you and your organization, small things like that. And you don't need to hire anybody to do it. Really just filling out a form on a website typically, and it costs you like $50 versus someone who's going to.
Right, absolutely. And now with the evolution of AI, it's going to get even more simple, and we just need to make sure that it's cost effective, people have access, and then the hardest part is capital. So how are they getting the capital they need to start and grow?
So let's talk about the name Hello Alice. What was the inspiration for it?
So Carolyn and myself, when we started the business, we were both had 2 babies each, and we had the opportunity from Michael Dell. I was working at Dell Technologies at the time to build the base of Hello Alice at a place called Pivotal Labs in San Francisco, of which neither of us lived there. And so we moved in together with our 2 kids each, and shared a babysitter and worked just 24/7, either with these kids or with the business. And we were reading the original Lewis and Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, and both of us to our children. And we thought, man, that really reminds me of the entrepreneurial journey, right? You're jumping through hoops. You're, the white rabbit you'll see all over our website is Ziggy, we call him. He's always chasing cash flow. He's always out of time. And so we just loved Alice's journey. And so we loved that for the creative.
Yeah, I think that that's so accurate when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? Because similar to the name behind this podcast, Curve Ahead, is as soon as you start figuring something out, there's a bend in the road that you don't necessarily see.
Right.
So it's really kind of the same principle there. And I thought that was really kind of cool when I read that on your site.
Absolutely. It is. And, we how many times do you say a month, oh, let's go down this rabbit hole, right? As a saying. And, it's just, and if you really look at the quotes in the story, particularly the Mad Hatter, he's always saying how many, I do more creative things before breakfast than most people do all day. And that is such the entrepreneur, right? And that we're all crazy. So yeah, we love the story.
Well, it's not that entrepreneurs themselves are crazy, but we're faced with so many challenging things that we weren't necessarily taught in school or by mentors or by anybody how to solve. So, yeah, we do have to solutionize a lot of things on the fly very quickly to make sure that we're still delivering what our clients need, but
Right.
also like still fulfilling our overall mission.
Absolutely. And it's, as everyone can attest to, the last 5 years have been nuts, right? And no matter how much you prepare, and no matter how good of a business planner you are, you can't see the unforeseeable, right? And so it's so important to just embrace the crazy sometimes. Or Brene Brown, from the great psychologist from Texas, says, embrace the suck, which I love. I love that statement. It's actually on my wall over there.
Nice. So let's talk about Hello Alice. Can you just tell me at a high level what it is, who they are serving and how it is that you guys monetize your services?
Absolutely. So our two main objectives are equitable access to capital and then a small business owner's financial fitness. So we deploy grants, loans, credit, secured credit, all equitable rates, and we ensure that the small business owner then is ready for that capital by ensuring their financial fitness. So we have something called the Business Health Score, and that is a free tool for any small business owner to input a certain amount of data, and then we rank their physical health, or excuse me, their financial health between 0 to 100. And then we give them the tools, the mentorship, and the access to improve your financial score to get you ready for that capital. Or we might say, hey, you actually don't need capital. You should cash flow this business. Or, hey, I wouldn't apply to something yet till you get X, Y, and Z straight. And we're really proud. We've done $57 million in small grants to small business owners, whether they be philanthropic or marketing grants. Our loan center has 90 lenders in it that are all equitable. And we've created these credit products for folks who don't have strong credit history, but then also just really good, strong operational credit. So I look at us as the bridge to capital, getting you ready for it, getting your business planning ready for it, and then ultimately helping you secure it. And then underneath Hello Alice, which I'm very proud of, is this really accidental cult community of small business owners supporting each other, reaching out to each other on the platform, going to events together. And we have everything from the largest Black-owned business center to military spouse groups. It's really a cool community as well.
How much of your time do you spend educating small business owners?
I mean, I feel like that is our number one job, right? And I mean, as a business owner still learning every single day. So, whether it's consistent learnings that everyone needs to know in the first 24 months of their business that's net new, or it is keeping up with the changes in taxes and law and opportunities. There's those episodic things that come out that we try to stay on top of as well.
Which kind of brings me to one of the questions that I had sent over to you. How do government policies impact funding mechanisms available for small businesses?
But I mean, they impact them like crazy. Whether you look at federal, state, local, there's both positive and negative, right? So everything's changing right now, but there are, for example, small business grants available. Whether you look at the federal SBA all the way down to your state economic development boards, right? And I'm a huge fan of those. Sometimes it's arduous paperwork, but non-dilutive grants are amazing. If you look at federal backed loans, I think those are critically important from the SBA. If you look at opportunities on subcontracting from the government, so the feds do more contracting with small and medium business than any corporation in this country. Same with state and county and local. So those are all critically important. My concern right now is a real pullback from a lot of that by the federal government, whether that's SBA, whether that's non-dilutive grants. There's been a big freeze on those. And I think these are a critical part of our country.
How do you think that that's going to impact people's willingness or able to continue as being an entrepreneur or small business in the future?
Well, I think small business owners start because they're passionate about solving a problem or a product they love or a service. They're not thinking about the government or, any of that. The passion and the fervor to start businesses is very strong right now in this country. In fact, I mean, post-COVID, the surge in opening small businesses or folks wanting to be their own boss is super powerful, which I'm excited about. Where I get nervous and what doesn't balance that excitement is capital is very expensive right now still. Tariffs are a real fear of making cost of goods sold more expensive for that day-to-day operational costs. And then you've got a lot of these government opportunities, I'll call them, like grants or biodiversity contract, that are on hold. So, but the excitement is not matching the access right now. And so that's where I get concerned. I don't think it will back up the willingness and excitement to start a business. I think it's just going to make it harder.
Yeah, hard from what perspective? Just harder from them to be operational
Yeah,
or
look, most small business owners have to have operational capital when they start. And that could be in a loan, that could be credit, that could be grants, that could be their own savings. And I think of capital not just as what you are bringing in, but also what are your costs. So your P&L around that. So there's a big joke about how eggs are expensive and things like that. But think of anyone in food services right now, how realistic those foodstuffs going up, how much that will prevent them from investing in growth, for example. So my concern is around the access to capital that's needed. Loans are still very expensive right now. And so, we encourage people to really think twice before taking on that debt. So maybe that growth is going to be a little slower, that higher might be a little wait to make that higher. And then for those that are opening that need commodities to open, if everything from electronics to ovens, we're worried about those costs right now. I'm still very optimistic. I don't want to deter anyone from opening their business. I think just really diversifying your cash flow, being smart about growth is what has to happen until things settle out a little bit.
do you think that that's one of the more commonly overlooked things of first-time founders of just thinking about how much capital they require to start a business?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it takes 20% more than you ever imagined. And that's time and money, by the way. So I do, however, Brian, think that we are a lot more savvy post COVID. I think that the amount of businesses that had to shut down because they didn't have more than, 2 months of cash in the bank, those folks who either made it through and or they reopened a new business, I think are much smarter about cash flow. They understand unit economics more. And so, and frankly, technology is making that information more accessible every single day. And so I do think we have a smarter crop of business owners right now in our country. I do think you're going to see fail rates lower because of that knowledge. Resiliency is a very powerful thing.
What are some of the trends or shifts in small business ownership that you're most excited about?
Oh my goodness. Access to technology. I'm just thrilled about it. I'm super excited about AI. I think the fact that software is getting cheaper and more accessible is huge for small business owners. We are releasing AI agents on Hello Alice soon that will help you do probably 10 things that you would have had to outsource before, which is super exciting. And it's not just money, Brian. Small business owners are so time poor. It's insane, right? I mean, most people are doing the business side of their business on the weekends and at nights because they're actually serving their customers or creating, during the day. So anything that can speed up the actual fiduciary side of the business is super exciting to me. And it allows that business owner to be more creative, have more time with their customers. So I'm super excited about software, about AI. And then I really think failure breeds amazing entrepreneurs. And I think a lot of us failed during COVID. And you're just going to see folks creating awesome things right now out of that.
I would agree that access to tech and especially AI has, for a lot of young startups, really accelerated what they've been able to do with much fewer resources.
Mhm.
For me, like I use it probably on a daily basis to do a lot of different things, but a lot of things around content creation where like it would be tedious for me to go in and actually write the entire script myself or like here's a prompt idea, can you help me fill it out like based off of best practices for whatever platform. Like having tools like AI, I think has and will revolutionize how businesses go to market and how quickly they'll be able to produce an MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I love speed. I love getting things out even when they're not ready. breaking them, iterating, and going again. And I think this is really going to create a lot of speed for folks too, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think one of the more interesting trends that I've seen recently is tools like Bolt.new, or I'm spacing on the other one, but like it allows non-technical people who have ideas to develop technical products like an application
Mm-hmm.
through prompt engineering. And I think that that's really going to help someone who has great ideas bring something to market way more quickly. Not saying that they won't need actual engineers to make sure that the application that they're creating is secure,
Right.
but like for them to be able to get off the ground and have a proof of concept really quickly in like a week or two is going to be huge for a lot of organizations.
I'm very blessed because my co-founder is very technical. But had she not been in my life, none of this would exist. And so, I mean, I do, you cannot replace human connection, knowledge, or intuition, but having just those software tools, again, I think is a game changer.
What are the most important things for small businesses to consider when they start thinking about securing funding?
I mean, it sounds silly, but do you really need it? First of all, I'm a big fan of finding money that you already have. So before you even go through that process, every single spend you have, really re-looking at it, and from the smallest of $20 a month accounts that you have to, can you renegotiate your rent? That's step one. Step two is ensuring your books are totally clean. You understand your entire P&L. You understand your cash flow. I think that's really important. And then finally, and that's why I really like our financial health score. It kind of helps you get all that organized. And then once you're ready to go out for capital, you should shop and negotiate just like you're buying a car. So if you decide, okay, I'm going to get a small business loan, I hope you're talking to at least 3 banks minimum. And you're literally walking in the front door. People still just are so digital, and there are people who sit on the other side of desks that you can still negotiate with. And I'm a really big fan of local banks. They can't always give you the best rates, but sometimes the speed, the efficiency, and the relationship there is great. Also, really understanding the market. I mean, if read the papers. If you think that interest rates are going to go down in a couple of weeks, wait, and see what that looks like. And so the other thing is really understand, because I certainly didn't, what financial options are out there. So do you need a loan, or maybe is it better to get a line of credit that, you just need for emergencies, you can spend it back and you're not paying interest on it. Also, really understand your credit cards and your operational credit. Sometimes a business credit card, if you really just need 8 weeks of capital, can be a smart place to go. You already have that relationship. However, be very careful there, because you get past that 8 weeks, your interest rates are going to be crazy. So just really educating yourself on what's out there, negotiating with once you decide what you want, negotiate with multiple groups. And then just make sure before you ever walk in that front door, whether it's digital or physical, that your books are really in order and you're ready. And then finally, I would just say, I always think it's critical to know what you're going to spend it on. And I know that might also sound silly, like I need a new oven, I need a new this, I need a new that, but just make sure you're mapping out what that entire spend is. Then you'll probably need a bit more than you think most times. So I think that's also really important.
Yeah, going back to that 20% rule of it's going to take 20% more time and 20% more capital than you thought it would.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've created a platform with both mission and tech at its core. What advice would you give others building purpose-led companies?
I think every company, no matter what you're in, period, should be purpose-led. And the reason I say that is, Brian, at the beginning of our conversation, we talked about how you will have crazy, it will be hard, it doesn't matter where you are. And what will pull you through those moments and actually help you with decisions is your purpose. And some people will call it your passion. So why did you start this business? What was your core mission? Who were you trying to impact? What's your core customer? Really understanding that. And that will also drive you when things suck and you're exhausted and you're sad and you're demoralized, really going back to why did I start this? What am I doing here? And I'll give you an example. As our company has grown so big, there was a couple of years there I wasn't engaging with small business owners. I was doing our financing and our technology and managing employees. And I missed that. And then when I started going back to our events and going literally just talking to people at the coffee shop and so on, I was like, this is why we're doing this. So really ensuring your purpose and your mission is at the forefront of, pulling you through the good times and the bad. And then when I said decision making, we've been through a lot of highs and lows at Hello Alice. And when we are stuck on a big decision, we really go back, Carolyn and I and our board, to what is our core customer need, and why did we start this, and is that going to result in this decision? And because all the P&L and all the decision making and all the laws and all the things are important, but at the end of the day is how is this decision, even if it's small or big, going to impact my purpose? Actually, it's a pretty solid lens to make that final yes or no.
If an organization doesn't have a clear purpose or mission, is it harder for businesses to do business with that organization?
I think so. And the reason why is folks have a very short attention span. There's also a lot of competition out there. And if you have a really clear, concise mission that people understand, and then they see the passion in you, one, you're going to get through the noise. They're going to understand what you're offering. And then two, the three people behind you that don't share that passion, they're going to choose you. So yeah, I actually think it's critical to your business, not just to the soft side.
Should businesses that have an unclear purpose or mission, should they spend time to
Yeah.
develop that further prior to like either going to market or just taking a hiatus to really define that
Yeah.
and then coming back to market?
Yeah, and look, and it might change over time. We boiled the ocean when we started Hello Us. We would do everything, help you hire people, build your website. It was too much. We were okay at a lot of things instead of really good. And we came back, we're like, what is the number one thing a small business owner needs? And it's capital. And so we just pulled that down. And then we iterated further of, well, they can't get capital if they don't have their financial fitness ready. So, that mission and might iterate a bit, but yeah, taking a minute to really, whether it's with your team, your board, or yourself, to really distill down, why are you doing this? Who are you impacting? And what problem are you solving? It is super important. And I will tell you, the second you go out to ask for a loan, you apply for a line of credit, you're going after venture funding, that is the first question they'll ask you, even before how much money are you going to make me? It is the first question you'll be asked.
It's a great lesson. So you had mentioned that you at Hello Alice you've built a strong community of small business owners. What are kind of the key pillars to building a community behind the brand?
Gosh, there's been different things at different times. I mean, that mission and purpose, being clear on that is certainly it. Carolyn really pushes transparency. We will only promote products that we believe in. We made big commitments around, we would only put lenders on the platform who are non-predatory. So really being transparent about all that. The peer-to-peer connection in communities, no matter what your industry, people really value learning from each other. And that was not the intent when we built Hello Alice. That was really something to just kind of organically happen, that now we really put fuel behind. I think that's been really important. And then it's crazy, but tech companies got to be really careful, because you need to actually go out and talk to people. I think communities are built on the other side of screens sometimes. So even though we're a tech and we throw these big connector events, and frankly, they're expensive for us. They're a lot of work, but they really, from a brand perspective, people connecting with each other, and then us listening and learning to what our customers need, that kind of physical connection has been really important over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of having the peer-to-peer, and I love that it came organically for you. I do a lot of content where it's like educational stuff, and I'm trying to build that base. So I definitely need to go back and look at what it is that I'm doing, making sure that I'm being transparent with who I am and what it is that I'm trying to bring to market.
Right.
Also need to, I think that my mission is okay, but should look at that again.
There's a lot of shoulds in small business, right? But it's one thing at a time.
Well, it also goes back to that time constraints that we had talked about earlier. There's only so much time during the day that you have to be able to get anything done. And you're spending most of your working hours servicing clients or prospecting to get new clients. And then the rest of it is all about the things that you've put on the back burner. It's the educational pieces. It's, how can I create a community or better market my brand? How can I learn from the things that I've done that is
Right.
performing well and what's not? So just like all of those things.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And, there's, as a business owner, there's some things I like to do more than others, right? So that's the other kind of tough part about it.
100%. Well, Elizabeth, you've been fantastic. At the end
Thank
of
you.
each one of my episodes, I give all of my guests 90 seconds to pitch anything that they're passionate about. So this could be Hello Alice, this could be anything. So without further ado, the next 90 seconds belong to you.
Well, I'm a big fan of grants, and we just raised $8 million for small business owners. So if you go to helloelse.com to our grant center, it's our way to give back to the community. So I hope you'll apply for our small business grants. And I'm very proud of those. And then I'd love to meet all of y'all. So I'm at Elizabeth Gore USA, just on about any platform. And Brian, it's just been a real pleasure to have you.
Thank you for